Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody, welcome to The Final Plan, the show each and every Friday where James and I run down our teams before the FPL deadline. But it's a little different this week. My name's Suj.
My name's still James.
Still James. And we carried over some questions from Monday's pod, which we may as well not have answered anyway after the events of this week. It's to just let's timestamp this. It's 5:30 on Thursday. So we are the night before. You'll probably be listening to this, whoever you are. We had an announcement that no games the government haven't advised the shutdown of games. Whether or not the FA still do it is up to them, right? So we've had an announcement. We think that all the games this weekend will carry on as per normal, as is at the moment.
Yes and no, to cover the football aspects of this in terms of the impact for our game week 30. There are individual cases which I think are on an hour by hour basis at the moment. We know that 3 Leicester players, unconfirmed who they are obviously, and I think rightly unconfirmed who they are being tested for having shown potential symptoms of coronavirus.
Leicester still have to play.
How can they?
The team still have to play the match, right?
But if they've got it, then there's a chance other players are about to get it.
So
and then you pass it to Watford. So if any of them are passed as positive, Watford and Leicester will go on Saturday. That's my opinion.
Okay.
There was a scare of at Chelsea's training grounds on Thursday where there was believed to be a case that perhaps somebody had come into contact with the Chelsea squad who may have it. They're due to play at Aston Villa on Saturday evening. There is the lingering doubt about Arsenal from the Olympiacos / Nottingham Forest owner. Can you own 2 football clubs these days? Apparently
in different countries you can. Man City have got fingers in a few pies, mate.
That's true. They're doing about 5 leagues, aren't they? So
our game
we
think
doubt Arsenal should be
Wolves.
okay.
Wolves are playing at Olympiacos now.
You played Arsenal, and Wolves are currently, as we speak, or as Suj and I are recording, in Greece. So I don't think it's a confirmed case that we've got 10 Premier League games this weekend. I think what we do know right now is that whatever does go ahead, and at the moment we have to work on the basis that it is all 10 games, is that they won't be behind closed doors. It's carry on as normal, which feels like, to us, as Suj said, recording at 5:30 on a Thursday after Boris Johnson and his clan of brilliant men.
Do you know what the medical industry needs?
It's a shock, isn't it?
Do you know what those guys need more than anything else? Fashion advice.
I think they might need more than just fashion advice, having just watched that press conference.
I thought I think what they're doing, I mean, okay, bring
us the science, Suj, because did.
We talked about turning this into a Q&A special because we hadn't really thought about our teams, and I'll be honest with you, I still haven't thought about my team. But what I will probably do is roll my transfer. I don't see the point in making a transfer into a player who I have no idea if he's going to play or not, and I'm not unhappy with my team. I've got enough coverage of players here, there, and everywhere. I've got no need to make a transfer, and I'm happy to take 2 into next week, which is obviously the blank game week. So I think I'm just going to sit tight, roll, and see what happens.
I would suggest from that perspective that anybody who is not intending to free hit in game week 31, and at the moment we have no real idea what game week 31 is or isn't going to be, but I would suggest that if anybody is looking to go into game week 31 and not free hit, my recommendation would be, unless you are in a catastrophic state for whatever reason with your FPL team, that you do not make a transfer.
This week.
You've got playing available substitutes, roll.
Yep. Rolling.
For those who are intending to free hit in game week 31 and have 2 free transfers, use 2, because you'll lose the one on the other side. People ask me that every year, and I think, oh God. Yes, anytime you use a chip, you will have 1 free transfer afterwards. If you have 2 and you intend to free hit in game week 31, then make transfers. There may be some people that are in circumstances where they feel that they need to make a transfer. For example, James Maddison has been confirmed out for a couple of
Pereira
weeks.
As well for the
Ricardo
rest of the season,
Pereira has, bless him, got an ACL injury and his season is over. If you own those two players and possibly even a third Leicester player, you might be in a position come Saturday lunchtime that you need to make a transfer. But I think, as Sudge already alluded to, I've got James Maddison, for example.
Makes sense.
Now, I wasn't. Nah.
You're going to keep him?
Yeah.
We don't know the extent of the injury. What did Brendan say?
2 weeks.
Oh, fine.
So
I
don't want James Maddison in my squad anymore. He's been fucking useless for 3 months from an FPL perspective. But it's more about what am I transferring in.
Yeah.
So my thought would be I wasn't going to start with James Maddison this week anyway. I was going to go with Grealish against Chelsea and Ismaila Sarr against Leicester, and Maddison was going to be my first sub. And Maddison can stay in that position as first sub. And Jamal Lascelles will be my player if I need an extra sub, which I don't mind at home to Sheffield United. That will do me. The issue is, do I want to transfer in, probably money-wise, in terms of what I'm planning further down the line, probably Abdullah Decore. Is probably what I'm thinking. Now, would I fire Decore straight into the team over Grealish this weekend? No, probably not. But even if I was, is that worth it? I'm getting him in for game week 31, am I? What if they don't play? So I'm rolling 100%. The only way I won't be rolling is if we're sitting here in 24 hours and there's like only 6 games left or something. And in which case, we might all be using the free hit this week. I would recommend strongly against that, though. The biggest FPL recommendation I can give you right now for this weekend is captain someone playing on Saturday.
Yep.
As we would stand right now. Like, for me, my intention was Salah, but this is moving so fast that Monday might be off. So I have no intention of doing that. Believe it or not, the person I'd probably captain at the moment is the person that everybody seems to want to sell. It's Kevin De Bruyne.
Yellow flagged or what have you. So let's look at some of these Twitter questions, because we've rattled through a bit of advice very quickly. That advice is not going to change. Some of the questions that we've been asked are about that advice, so we can get through some questions very quickly from today's tweet. James always puts a tweet out.
Yeah, for those from Monday, it just feels like they're all so hypothetical on what would you do on transfers now. I think it's really summed up like that, and the games starting at the earlier part of the week are more likely to go on than Everton-Liverpool on Monday night, for example.
Let's do one quick thing, if you don't mind, before we get into the Twitter questions. Obviously, you and I both owned Kevin De Bruyne on Wednesday, didn't play, so then auto subbed in whoever was second, third on your bench.
Yep.
After that, auto subs for anybody that captained Kevin De Bruyne onto Salah's and Mane's and whatever. What happened to your rank, and where are you now?
Dropped about 50k, just inside 900k.
And your total points for the game week?
I can't remember. I just so switched off it. Because what's the point?
I ended up, I think I had a rise of 10k, like 470 to 460 or something like that.
Nice.
So yeah, I think I got 58 points in the end, which it's not great, but it will do the job. Jamie Vardy really.
I tell you something I do want to say before we go on to these questions on that. Stop asking Ben Crellin what he thinks. No, I mean that seriously. Ben Crellin had a brilliant appearance on Who Got the Assist earlier in the week, which I listened to this morning. Really worthwhile listening. And one of the things Ben made clear last night in terms of people saying, what's happening now? It's Man City and Arsenal going into game week 30. We have an epidemic. What are they going to... are they... Oh, yeah, we're in the middle of an epidemic. Let's put another game in the middle of it. I don't think that's what's... It's no chance.
I can understand people's itchiness, but you've got to understand that he has no idea.
The issue for Ben, right, is Ben is the best at the chip planning, right? If you want to call me Ben Light, that's fine. I'm proud to have that. That's fine. But Ben's work, and he would say this himself, has always been based on what's happened historically and probability.
Yeah.
That is completely out the window right now. Our football season might still finish in July. Well, we have to say, for those who are, for whatever reason, out of the loop, we are look like we're playing football this week, but next week we might not be. And it does look like the Euros are already being talked about, potentially moving back to 2021. And our football season could go into June, July and further.
So, you know, the press conference now, they're talking about the peak being in 10 to 14 weeks. That's 2.5 months from now is when we're going to hit the peak. which is bizarre. It's
so what does that take us up to? Is that June, July?
So we're in the middle of March.
So we need
now,
to get finished before then, do we?
End of May, June, that kind of time now. So fascinating.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Do you know what really I found funny with the game week ranks from last week, which just made me want to kick myself, but I get it as well. One of the leagues that I always look at is our correspondence league. It's probably the first league I go to see how everybody's doing.
Snap.
And it's a decent league. It's a good spread of scores. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but some guys doing really well. Dan Loco Lord, our Liverpool correspondent.
Flying.
I hope you're doing. He's 28k overall now, top of the correspondence league, and last week he played his free hit. He bought in 3 City players: Otamendi, Mahrez, Aguero, no returns. He bought in 3 Arsenal players: Aubameyang, Saka, and Leno, and he had 1 return in Leno.
He still killed it.
And so he missed the double game week with the free hit. Only got 1 game out of these 6 players, and still scored more points than both of us. Yeah.
These other 5 selections were obviously very good.
The words I was going to repeat after that were not suitable for the radio. I think you had Salah and Mane and Leno, and those 3 between them did particularly well. And then a couple of Wolves assets in there as well. But it just goes to show, right? He missed the free hit. You'd have to say he missed the free hit completely and the double game week and still managed to rise up the ranks. So well done, Dan.
Right now,
that's FPL for you, isn't it?
If the season was to stay on some sort of schedule where it was all played behind closed doors, sort of, I don't know, from game week 31 or 32, and it had to finish at the same time that it's due to finish now, then my instinct right now is that Manchester City and Arsenal will go into game week 37 and Manchester City will have a treble. It's possible that Arsenal would as well. There's nothing to say that Man City wouldn't play Friday, Monday, Thursday, and then Sunday in game week 38. Right now, that's the most likely scenario. It's also the most pointless sentence you will hear on this podcast today because we just don't know. And it feels like you're going to get odd games getting postponed here and there. So chip planning, forget it. We don't know. I would hold on to them. It would be my advice. If you're planning to use it in 31, great. I wouldn't activate it till about half an hour before the deadline on Friday.
Yeah, it's true. Should we get into some questions then? Let's rattle through some questions. Some good ones here. I'm going to start with my own question for you, James. At Sujin Shah, ask a question.
Oh, okay.
If the season's extended into later in May and June and potentially July, does that mean we end up with game weeks 39, 40, 41, 42 and 43?
My God, you're being one of them annoying people, weren't you? I have no idea, mate.
Because it'd have to be, wouldn't it? You'd have to add on additional weeks into the schedule because the game weeks are set.
Or we just end up with a game week 38 that just never ends.
Could you imagine
Everything
that?
Left is just game week 38.
Yeah. And if that's the case,
everyone's got like 5 games in game week 38. Can you imagine?
Okay. Second question.
You have to have the free hit for it, wouldn't you?
Second question coming in from at Sujin Shah. If that was the case and all of the games beyond game week 38 were just one big game week of game week 38, would you rather use your free hit or your bench boost for that mammoth mega game week 38?
If we had like 5 at the end, for example, everyone had 5 fixtures in game week 38. I think you'd have to wild card in 37, wouldn't you?
And bench boost the hell out of
bench boost out of 38.
Oh, these funny scenarios, and it's all coming from such a ridiculous situation.
Don't stress on chip strategy. By the time this podcast goes out, the situation, like I said, might well have changed again. The advice really is, unless you have to make a transfer this week, I really wouldn't. There's some people talking about, let's use our chips early because the season could get annulled. Listen, great. If you end up with a game week 32 rank that's really good, like, congratulations, well done to you. Like, the possibilities of what could be happening at the end here are like monstrous anyway. So, yeah, all that shit we've done on chip strategy, just forget it.
Yeah. So let's go through some Twitter questions here, and we'll try and vary them up. So anybody asking about whether or not they should use their chips already or whether they should roll a transfer this week or what have you, we'll breeze past because we've given our opinion on that. Excuse me. FPL rookie enthusiast. Why are people jumping on Bruno Fernandes so much, making his price go so high? Still want to get in on game week 32. Shall I wait or go now? I'm not free hitting in 31. Not free hitting.
Do I need to say anything? No. It's a Sunday game as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't jump now. The thing, my point on Bruno Fernandes is that even if he what is he 8-3 now? Maybe 8-4,
8-5, I think.
8-5.
Yeah.
Even at 9, I'll buy him. You know, like Kevin De Bruyne at the beginning of the season, you would have paid 2 million more than what his price was at some points. So I think with Bruno Fernandes, even at 9, I'll still buy him. I'll buy him as long as he's cheaper than Kevin De Bruyne and I can afford it. So I'm not worried about the price with Bruno Fernandes.
Genuinely, I'm really sorry on this. It's probably not what you and here. I'm telling you, don't make a transfer this game week. That's really how I feel. I think I'd rather be in a position when, do you know what? All right, game week 31's got one fixture. I'll buy 2 players from that game then. Seriously, no.
We have another question coming in from Fintan _03. I'm going to assume it's Fintan is your name as well. This may be obvious, but if the Premiership is played behind closed doors, will that affect the home or away balance? Can we expect more victories without a home crowd and it having the atmosphere of a training match? Do you think that you lose home advantage by not having the players there?
I think it's very reasonable to say I wouldn't say you lose home advantage. There's still things like, the comfort of knowing where you are, same dressing room, same routines, all those kind of things, the surrounding areas. Alderweireld spoke when Spurs first started playing at Wembley. The East Stand at Tottenham used to have the big pillars, and Toby Alderweireld spoke about how they used to use that pillar in certain game situations as an offside marker, as in positionally where they should be.
Yeah,
which is mad, right? And what's to say you haven't got something like that in the new stadium or different stadiums? Or it's a little more difficult now with the revolving advertising hoardings. But perhaps there's certain markers in the stadium that you go, yeah, that's my marker for my line or something. Small margins in football that people might use. I think what I would say on it is it won't favour teams who play at a high tempo. High tempo teams need high atmosphere, high octane situations. So teams that you'd think just wouldn't be bothered by it would be, for example, Manchester City, the way they play stylistically, etc. Just wouldn't be bothered. Liverpool, who want to play at that 100-mile-an-hour tempo when they're at their best, like they were at times against Atletico on Wednesday night, it's not going to suit them.
We're answering a bit of Bradley Lewenden's question as well. He says, if the games are put behind closed doors, no, that's not his question. He's asking if we'll both still be going to the game or be staying at home.
Do you want to answer that first?
So I'm not taking my kids. Can't be bothered with that. But I also had a plan not to take my kids, so I could go and see the West Ham's famous Rib Man, get a rib burger and have a pint before the game. And I was meeting Hort as well, who's sometimes quite often a guest on FPL Surgery, for a drink before the game. So I thought I'd leave the kids at home. Now I'm even more inclined to, definitely not taking them. Can't be bothered with that. I am 80% still going to the game. And I also expect it to be 25 to 50% empty.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I think it will probably be full at Spurs, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are some empty spaces. I actually mentioned to Suj the idea of, because West Ham's to 2:00 and Spurs to 4:00, the idea of us possibly streaming through the games on Sunday for the crack. But I was also thinking I might go down to Spurs with about £1,000 in my pocket and see if I can blag my way in of someone dodgy on the door or something. Because for me, I've never missed a game, right? So, but I had mentally accepted.
Trust me, for £1,000, I'll get you in, mate.
I'd mentally accepted that it was going to be behind closed doors and there's nothing I could do about it. My original instincts was, I have to be down Tottenham somewhere, and then you see the sights in Paris on Wednesday night, and you think, well, this isn't working, is it? But it's not going to be like that in the UK. Like you would see some overseas countries there where they're just outside the ground. That sort of stuff's not going to happen.
No.
But yeah, my instinct was spiritually, I've got to be in Tottenham and that. And you think about it deep, and you go, hang on a minute. Don't be a prick here, James. Like, you've got a little one. Like, think bigger now. But yeah, obviously, of course, I will.
Do you know,
if they open the doors, I'll be at the game.
I'm in a WhatsApp group with some other West Ham mates who my brother and a couple other guys would go to the games with sometimes. And one of them put in there that they were going to offer streaming of the games for season ticket holders if they have to play behind closed doors. And another chap popped up and he goes, there you go with Gold and Sullivan. They want a streaming service so they can fill it full of pop-ups for all of their other websites that they sell. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to exploit every opportunity. We're not going to answer some of these, but I'm going to read them out because you were kind enough to send these questions in. You got FPL Governor. Thoughts on whether there will be a 2020 Euro tournament? I mean,
There'll be a tournament, but I think we are looking at
maybe
highly likely being next year.
Especially because it's
the travel stuff as well. It only needs one of them countries to have an issue that spirals out of control.
They already have. Italy's already got an issue.
Well, exactly. And
1,000 dead people.
Rome is scheduled to have games. The opening game of the tournament is meant to be in Rome. England would possibly have a quarter-final in Rome. So yeah, the easiest thing is to move that till next year. Whatever's going on, I think that's highly feasible.
Do you think the 2021 season will be delayed? They might just have a shorter pre-season, you'd think, right?
Who knows? I think there's many measures that could get put into. One, for example, being spoken about. I mean, the European calendar, which like UEFA are desperate never to have postponements. But when you had things like I believe the flight for Roma going into Seville was told like you ain't landing here, at which point they've got no choice. So they're out of sync. One of the things that's being spoken about is potentially the 2-leg ties becoming 1 leg.
Yeah.
I think with the cup competitions, by the way, it's the sort of thing, if necessary, come back to it next year. Even if it meant, I don't know, say for us in this country, do you know what? We need to finish the FA Cup. There's 8 teams that earned the right to be in that position. There won't be one next year. There won't be a League Cup next year or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, Pep's
the priority has to be what's not finished rather than what's not started. Got to finish what's now.
Martin Sarlin asks about Kevin De Bruyne. No Real Madrid for City. Obviously, Arsenal was postponed. Is Kevin De Bruyne a lock for this weekend? He's still got a flag in the official FPL game. So
him and Leroy Sané both took part in a full 11v11 match on Wednesday, I believe.
So you'd assume that he is fit and ready to go because Liverpool's the wheels.
They arranged that because City were meant to play Wednesday night, weren't they? So
the wheels are definitely come off Liverpool. So City must think they've got a sniff at the title now.
Oh yeah, I still think City can absolutely go for it. And win it.
So Kevin De Bruyne must play.
Kevin De Bruyne for me was likely to be my captain even if City played Real Madrid because I just look at the players I've got available Saturday and gone, yeah, do you know what? He hasn't played on Wednesday now.
He's going to play.
For him as well, a little bit of match fitness, having missed the Manchester derby. And yeah, I don't think he played at Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup either, did he? So for me, I would have expected him to play in any case. So I think that's captain for me this week. I really believe the way this whole thing is moving, that Salah and Mane has now become very dangerous as a captaincy. Definitely, if you've got both, at least put a vice captain from the Saturday fixtures. Don't go Salah captain, Mane vice.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that kind of thing. Seriously, if you want to go that route, and a lot of people will, pick a vice captain who's playing Saturday.
We've got a part political question that we have here. Our friend Drew, the Athletic FPL. So he tweeted earlier, it's either irresponsible and dangerous from Boris and the Med squad, or calm and measured based on what they've just done. Are they responsible or are they calm? What do you think about what the government are doing?
I'm going to let you answer that because you'll answer it with a lot more articulation than me.
Ultimately, based on what they've said, the measures they are putting in place and the reasons they're doing what they're doing are quite logical. I understand what they're saying. They're saying right now we are not at our peak. The peak is coming. We're 4 weeks behind Italy.
This won't panic anyone.
Yeah, but just because we're 4 weeks behind Italy doesn't mean that in 4 weeks we'll have the same numbers as Italy. But the trajectory is that we're 4 weeks behind Italy. They reckon the peak's in 10 to 14 weeks. That surprised me. Like, it was still 2.5 to 3.5 months before we're at peak. And they're saying if we do all the drastic stuff now, then when we get to the peak, we're going to have nothing left to do. So let's hold tight, try and restrain it a little bit by everybody stay indoors for 7 days, even if you get a little bit ill and that kind of thing. Keep old people away. And we'll keep a couple of cards up our sleeve for when we get to that drastic point where it gets even more kind of intense. I think they said 95% of people will be either side.
Do they not think they can slow down the drastic point?
I don't. It was 10 to 14 weeks already feels slowed
down.
Take
a case like I saw our friend Neil Murray was tweeting earlier saying Denmark's got they're on
lockdown now.
No cases or no deaths. It might be no deaths. Yeah,
no deaths.
They've locked it.
Yep.
They ain't waited for.
But it's also much
and these
smaller
fuckers
country.
In Scandinavia are clean, you know.
Yeah, they are. They were saying that they could have stopped flights coming in from China, but unless they stopped 95% of flights, it was pointless. So you have to go to like a real extreme lockdown situation. Our numbers are still relatively low. 10 deaths out of 590 people. It's not great, but it is low compared to Italy at the moment. Like they've had over 1,000 deaths, right? 100 times as much.
Is it that many now? Was it 800 this morning or something?
There's over 1,000 deaths, more than 15,000 cases. We're at 500 cases, 10 deaths. So is
it fair to say though we're not testing enough people?
I don't know about that. So that was the one thing that the government are doing that is interesting. They said that if you're feeling mild symptoms, stay at home, and we're not going to test if you're mild and you're staying at home. We're going to divert that resource for the NHS and more that like testing in NHS when people get to that point.
So let me just cut in there quickly and ask the question that all the listeners are thinking. If you've got a cough on Monday, what's happening?
You're supposed to stay at home for a week. Oh, I have.
Yeah.
Zoom, mate. That's what Zoom and Skype were made for. The content does not give a shit about coronavirus. The content goes on. It was interesting. They said that kids are doing okay. Like it hasn't attacked kids as much as it has the older generation. Having said that, they've banned all international school trips, right? I'm going on holiday in 3 weeks today. This time 3 weeks from now I'm supposed to be at the airport pissing off for a week and a half's holiday, and I need this holiday. Like it's been a while and it's been a busy start to the year. I'm so looking forward to this break. Yeah, I may not be going, but I'm taking my kids in that.
Yeah, as some of the regular listeners will know, I'm actually taking a 2-week holiday this year as well. Wife, parents, little one.
Lovely.
I said to her last night, I said, this holiday, love, I'm telling you now, mate, maximum 50%, mate.
What chance of going?
Like I'd start thinking, nah, it's not happening. Like, do you even want to?
Yeah. I was, if you'd asked me a week ago, I was 90%. I'm off. I'm out of here because I was very brave about it.
I'd rather be in a football stadium with 60,000 people than on an aeroplane with 150.
Perhaps. I'll have anti-bac gel, wash my hands, keep myself clean as possible. And it's not going to be ideal, but yeah. The problem the situation I'm in is if I don't travel, if the government don't say, the Foreign Commonwealth Office don't say flights grounded, or the airline don't say flights grounded, I don't get my money back. So I don't want to lose my money.
We got to pay the deposit in 10 days on the place.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've only paid the deposit at the moment.
You got to pay the balance, sorry.
Yeah.
So you'd lose the deposit.
Within 10 days. What do you think?
Yeah, the insurance company's not going to pay out because they say it's an act of God.
Fuckers, man. I think we shouldn't go. Plus, Spurs might be playing in it.
Oh, dear.
I'm not going to lie, right? I'd mentally prepared myself for closed doors, and a little bit of me was thinking, just sack this shit off. Let's come back in August. Just forget about it.
Yeah.
No Europa League. No. Just find Spurs. You were 9th or wherever we are in the league. Yeah.
In a strange way, I think it takes a lot of the pressure off FPL this week. Like I'll roll the dice, see what happens, and if I get points, I do, and if I don't, I don't, because it's much more of a lottery this weekend.
Right, there's so many things with the fixtures, but what even stands out? City at home to Burnley, picking the 11. I wouldn't be buying Kevin De Bruyne, for example. There's a lot of people talking earlier in the week about, because of people like Bruno Fernandes, is it time to come off? But after him, what are you looking at as best captaincy? Salah, Mane, Monday, Jesus. Aubameyang at Brighton, don't mind that. If people have gone with Aubameyang and he's playing Saturday as well, I think that's decent. You're looking at sort of like Jimenez, Jota at Wolves, maybe. Fernandes at Tottenham. There's nothing this weekend. If it look at Leicester's injuries now, maybe Vardy's got coronavirus. We don't know. There's nothing that even really massively appeals so much this week as well. It's quite a balanced set of fixtures. So,
FPL Jeb, should teams continue to train together or keep players separated from each other?
Well, they've got to, haven't they?
You have to train together or just not train.
What are you going to do? Defend the set piece by yourself?
What, the main advice that's still coming out everywhere, and I'm not that wise enough to understand why washing your hands stops germs in the air, but wash your hands. Well, what do they do after they finish training? Shower and clean. They'll be washing and all the rest of it.
Have you seen Klopp from Wednesday night?
No.
I thought it was hilarious.
I've heard his press conference, but are you talking about something specific that he was?
So he was coming out the tunnel, and there was like Liverpool fans leaning over the tunnel, putting their hands out to get like a high five from him, and he just looks up. He's like, "Put your fucking hands away, you idiots!"
Oh, he's so funny. I just think they carry on as they are.
Did like an elbow bash with Simeone, didn't he? It's cool.
Yeah. Any advice? This is FPL Oakwell. Any advice for someone who free hit last week, got 38 points, and is still crying into his pillow?
Yeah, right.
For reference, my non-free hit team would have scored 56.
Oh, well.
My advice is take the pillow cover off that pillow once you finish crying, stick it in the wash, go and wash your hands, carry on with life.
Right to official FPL and complain. I saw some idiot had a suggestion going around. I don't know who it was. Yeah. I would grass them up if I knew, but I didn't. About the idea of if a game's postponed, no matter when it's replayed, it should stay in the same game week. Like you get the points 9 weeks later for that game week.
Nah, not feeling that.
It's part of the game. Some you win, some you lose. What should I've? Because Mane got injured in the first game, didn't play against West Ham. What does that mean? That's ridiculous.
It's interesting. This is coming in from Dr. FPL. Which teams will suffer most with the lack of atmosphere? Now, you mentioned teams that play with tempo will suffer more. Now, one of the teams that plays with the least tempo,
Spurs,
but has one of the best atmospheres is Wolves. Their place is rowdy as you like. Yeah, they stay off the ball. They let you have the ball and they play with no tempo. I think they will struggle more because the atmosphere at their ground is rocking, mate. But they don't play with tempo.
No, I disagree with that actually because Wolves are I say so often, they're so well coached. There's tactical thoughts in the way that they play, even though they only kind of vary between two systems. I actually think that it will suit them.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they're the sort of side that would benefit from it if they come back from Greece and they ain't all fucking ill.
Well, we shall see. We've got Adam P at 3-5 who hopefully he never been to Arsenal in the last few weeks. Adam.
Sheffield United's the sort of one I think wouldn't help.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't help. They're like to get, yeah, you're right.
Burnley's another one. Just feel like I need a bit of energy in games.
Yep, the crowd can definitely lift them. For sure. Do you find the publication of individual players diagnosed with COVID-19 a bit invasive? At the moment, every breaking story feels to be treated like transfer deadline day rumours or what have you.
Well,
you said that you thought it was better that players' names were kept out of it.
Absolutely should be.
Sure, but when you get to match day and suddenly Vardy's not in the 20 whatever, 16-man squad or
then
whatever.
You know.
Yeah, so we're going to find out. I think the thing is we're going to find out, so...
Well, no, not necessarily. Just, got a calf injury in training yesterday.
Yeah.
You don't know. It could be
team sheets are leaked. Injury news is going to be leaked.
Anything.
You know?
Look, once you know, you're fine. But I don't think we should be, pointing, you've got it and stuff like that. No, I understand what Adam's saying. There was a period, obviously we're recording Thursday, it was a period in the afternoon where it was like, minute after minute, there was something new. It was Leicester, then there was Chelsea. Then it was Manolo Gabbiadini, FPL legend, who was at Southampton for all of about 2 weeks. Tom Hanks. It was every minute was like something else, and it was like, yeah, Jesus, man, yeah.
Bad news is good news for the media, isn't it? Really, they love making a drama.
Media love a bad news story. They probably don't love this one too much, but
no. Of all the other questions that we've had. Everybody's asking the same stuff. Should you play your chips as quickly as you possibly can? No. Or do what's right for you, but
do whatever you like.
No.
Crack on.
Should the season just end now? And any cash mini leagues that people are in, that they're losing money should get the ones that are losing think they should get their money back, and the ones that are winning think they should just get their winnings. Also, no.
I do have a suggestion on that, actually, because a couple of people have asked. I think it's a really difficult one. One suggestion I said, it's just an idea. I think everybody's mini league scenario will be different. One suggestion I had was whatever money's in the kitty, you put 50% as it stands, and the rest of the 50% gets refunded.
Yeah, I mean, you'd need everybody to buy into that. But I suppose you're winning something at that point.
You can't
right?
put it to a vote, because if you're miles off, you're just going to go refund. And the guy in front's obviously going to want all the money, right? So it's a little bit like, Leeds deserve to get promoted if the season finishes. Yeah, but Bournemouth, for a level one goal difference with West Ham, don't deserve to be the 18th team that go down if you just finish the season. That can't work, right?
No, that's perfectly fine.
Yes, it would be fine for you. Yeah, I can never get a ticket for Bournemouth away anyway, so I don't care if they go.
Should we do some Twitter questions from Monday? Have a look.
Are they any good? I kind of writ them off. I never looked at them.
Do you know what? I was about to do something, commit a cardinal sin.
What's that?
Our friend Amber sent a question in, and
shit.
I left it till last because it's always the best.
Okay.
And because I left it till last, I almost forgot about it. Here we go. Ready? You ready?
Probably not.
Are the audience ready?
Probably not.
What's the best accent or impression you can do? The best.
It's my wife, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Topic of conversation.
What do you mean no fucking holiday? I paid for it. I've got to go. And I suppose none of this shit, if we go away and Spurs are playing, you're flying home. Well, we might have to think about that, love.
Oh, dear. Your missus is the best. Mine's every day she's like, are we cancelled yet? Are we cancelled yet? Because she just wants to get her money back and try and fly a different time, but no, that's not happening at all. I can't do impressions of my missus.
We'd have to do one of you. Have you got any accents? Or
accents?
Yours are pretty shit. I'm gonna be
honest. I don't know. I'd rather try and figure out who my best impression is. Well, with this mask, my Bane, I thought the other day was not bad.
It wasn't bad, actually, yeah.
Your pain pleases me.
Nice question, Amber.
Or Mourinho. I think Donald Trump and Mourinho are trying to have a competition of who can
the most hated,
who can talk the most but say the least. Because they seem to come out with a lot of stuff and actually never say anything that's of any value.
Anybody wants to know about Spurs from Tuesday night? Yeah, check out my timeline. That dickhead played the back five again. Can you believe it?
Yeah, when you told me, because I didn't watch the game, but I had it on Sofa School. When you said just check out my timeline, I thought there was going to be a string of tweets. But the one that you mentioned that Harry, James' son, had been crying from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. was exactly right. Yeah, there we go. Dan McKenna. If we assume the season's going to end sooner than we thought, are we going to have an even more of a silly season transfer window? And specifically, is there a greater than 1% chance of Harry Kane leaving Spurs?
Greater than 1%? Yeah, definitely.
Do you think this summer might be the one that they cash in? He's had a couple of injury hit seasons now. Compared to previous seasons,
my argument is people always say with Kane, they say, you're selling for under than 50 mil or whatever, which with current injuries might be inflated actually. You sell him, and we've got the money to replace him. Have we? Well, that's like, and Ndombele, Lo Celso, and I've got 30 million left, and I still ain't got a forward. So, what does it even get you now? I don't think you, with a player like that who's so crucial to you, he's the one world-class player in the Spurs squad. I'm not having this bollocks about some being world-class. You lose a player like that, what you getting that's going to be anywhere up to scratch to replace it? Say Spurs wanted to go and get a player to play with him of a similar quality. How much you got to pay? Same amount of money.
Yep.
If Spurs went...
If you wanted to prove an international standard, if you were to shop around in the 40, 50 million pound bracket, you're taking probably a 1 in 5 to a 1 in 7 chance of success. Look, if you list all the strikers that have been bought between 30 and 50 million, your Hallers and Joe Lintons and Wesleys and Samatas and whoever else.
That's what I'm saying. I can get Haller and Joe Linton for 80 million. That's good, isn't it?
They'll both combined score less goals than Llorente probably did. You know what I mean? It's not even in the same bracket. If you shop in that 30 to 50, 1 in 5 will work. 1 in 4. I'm trying to think of players that have been bought at that bracket that have worked out. And there's not many. So, yeah, you got to be, if you want proven success, you're going to be north of 100.
Can't just say, Llorente, Champions League. Name me a better duo, right? Sorry, Scousers. I see a lot of Scousers like, oh, everyone's in my timeline digging me out this week. Listen, you've won nearly every fucking game this year.
Yeah.
Calm down.
These are questions from Tuesday that we're going to go into. A couple of interesting ones. Would you recommend Chris Wood, this is Bradley doing, to anyone for the next few weeks? He is a guaranteed starter. We did talk about Burnley now. Like the thing with Burnley is they're out of all competitions, right? And they don't chop and change their team a lot.
But even if you were going to buy players this week, or if I was going to buy players this week, it was Man City away. So I'm buying him this week anyway.
We have at Claret FPL, our friend Jimmy Mac and Cheese, who always chips in with some Burnley advice. And he says that like Burnley, for a team that don't chop and change, Wood came straight back in for Vidra.
Yeah, and he'll stay in the team.
And he will stay in the team now. And top goal scorer for the last 3 seasons. Makes sense. Chris Wood is not a bad shout. I may make the Danny Ings to Chris Wood move at some point.
Yeah,
and then
it's a 31 possibility for me.
Yeah. Would you upgrade players who don't blank in Game Week 31 to teammates with a higher ceiling? So getting rid of Bolly to Doherty, for example.
Yeah, I understand that.
Jota
it's
to
kind
Jimenez.
of something I've done with, I fiddled about to go Traore to Doherty, basically. So, yeah, it's okay. Certainly, it's another one. I wouldn't wait till this week. You can make the move this week, and the one you get might get injured over the weekend. Or they haven't got a fixture in 31, whatever. So, yes, possibly nearer the 31 deadline.
It's funny, I'm talking about between 31 and 32 doing something similarly seems wasteful but also stupid, but selling a non-31 player for a non-31 player because I want the money to buy a better 30 Game Week 31 player.
Currently I have 8 with the intention to go in to 31 if those fixtures go ahead, and it will be as late as possible on the Friday to make sure of it, is to make 3 transfers from -4. So just an example here of where, because one of the questions people will definitely ask next week is about one we had the other day about Dele Alli. Oh, if I get him in for a non-player, it's only a -2. Well, yeah, like I told you, it probably will be. Yeah. It probably will be at -2. But if you make 2 transfers for a -4, say you've got 1 free transfer and you make 2 for a -4, 2 basic appearance points, levels you out at 0, yeah? Feels absolutely worth it. What if you get there and you make 3 for the -4? The basic appearance points should be 6. You should be 2 ahead automatically. Now, the further up you go, the worse that gets. People say, oh, yeah, well, it's -2. It's almost playing for free. Trust me, follow my last year getting Chris Metham in. Oh, yeah, appearance points. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, that worked out well, didn't it? What, you take a -4 for someone and he concedes twice and gets booked?
Painful.
That's all it takes, and you're nothing.
Especially at this in this climate, I think it's just not worth it. Maneuver asks a question, and this is a little bit out. This is not an FPL, so we can have a little chat about it while we're talking, mate. Top 5 managers of the season from the Premier League so far, in your opinion? So Klopp and Wilder are almost givens because of what Liverpool have done and how good they've been.
Mourinho.
He mentions in here Dyche, Bruce, Hodgson, Lampard, Rodgers, all of them. I think Brendan Rodgers, has to take some credit.
Where's Jose?
Top 5 managers of the season.
Do you know what?
He's given us some laughs.
It's 20 teams. I wouldn't put him in the top 20.
He's given us a few laughs. I'll give him that.
He's definitely done that.
I think the reason I like Brendan Rodgers is because of the philosophy of we're going to attack. And I really like that.
Klopp, Wilder, I think yes. Brendan Rodgers, Sean Dyche deserves a shout.
Steve Bruce or not? They are the ultimate negative stat buster, aren't they? In terms of their stats say they should go down, but they're still ticking along.
In terms of, I know it's not the whole season, but obviously Nigel Pearson has done really well at Watford. He's turned it around, hasn't he? Basically to the point the majority of us think they'll stay up now. Yeah,
I think our bearded friend Nuno, he's probably up there as one of the first managers that's really effectively sorted out this Thursday-Sunday problem and not rotated Thursday, Sunday, and still stuck with the same principles
I think
throughout.
you'll see a bit more of it on
Rotation.
the other side if the games do continue.
Yeah, perhaps, but I mean, he does get. People say you don't get the credit he deserves. I think Nuno is regarded as people know now that he's class.
Yeah.
But I think he's had a great season, and we've seen like so many clubs that end up with that Thursday Sunday underperform. Nuno not batted an eyelid of Wolves at all this season, so
Properly
I'd
coached.
put him up there. Who else would you think? Anyone else?
No.
Not really.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Let's have a look at some other questions here. KDB goes to show how these questions
They're
are
all
so
selling
heavily
him.
dated. Should we keep him? Season keeper? Is he worth it? So on and so on and so on.
Can I just say, and we have to kind of say, if the fixtures carry on, I might captain him this week. I might sell him next Friday.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it.
I think I'm in exactly the same, but he's my make weight to get Bruno Fernandes and Antonio in. Kevin De Bruyne is the one that's going to have to go.
Possibly similar for me.
Had that fixture midweek with Arsenal happened, I think there would have been a number of people that would have been disappointed with the rotation that we would have seen from City, as we always do get disappointed by the rotation.
I don't think would have been any less disappointed than what they are with just no fixture, mate.
No, true.
If you could have offered them guys 3 points now, they'd have taken it.
I suppose my point is we'd still be having a debate about City, but maybe about different assets. And I think we spoke about it on the main pod, how they just annoy you, and I'd rather not have that annoyance of rotation and steer clear. I think we spoke about it more on Sky Fantasy Football, to be honest with you. None of the other questions are relevant, James. Everyone else is kind of, doing what they're doing. What else do we want to talk about?
I'll be streaming this afternoon, possibly with more updates.
This afternoon means Friday.
They ain't going to be listening to it on Thursday because I ain't going to put it out till Friday.
No, but they might listen on Saturday, so then they'll tune into YouTube.
Then they're silly, aren't they? You put
you missed the
up-to-date podcast.
You missed the boat.
Friday, it'll be on YouTube. Yeah, join in the chat, ask me questions. We might have some more team news and a bit more information.
I'm hoping the later you leave the stream, the better. In case, my personal opinion is that there is 50% of the reaction from the government is going to go two ways. 50% of people are going to be, "What are you doing? You haven't done enough," and want them to do more, shut down schools and all the rest. And the other 50% are going to be like, "Life goes on." But the pressure from people who think that not enough is going on will tell, and then suddenly events and stuff are going to start, like football matches and stuff are going to start getting closed off.
Do you think the Premier League should have stepped in?
And done what?
Just say that it's behind closed doors. Because I think in a lot of leagues around, certainly in Europe, I can't speak so much for the world, the leagues have just stepped in and gone, nah, that's it, you're done. Like La Liga's come in really and just said, that's it. Nah, 2 weeks, let's see where we are then.
It's a difficult one. I mean, somebody did ask the question on Twitter, or put it out on Twitter, not in our thread of questions. I saw a tweet from somebody, and I don't remember who. Why aren't the Premier League doing anything? Money, money, money.
Well, I was going to say, the skeptic in me thinks, no La Liga, no Serie A. Everyone's got to stay indoors. Bit more exposure around the world.
I honestly think that they are worried about that a little bit.
I hope that that's not going through anybody's mind.
No, but also a number of cases and deaths and stuff, and the proximity of it. That what we've seen with Leicester changes things a lot. With the La Liga, like this Real Madrid team, the basketball team had players infected, and that's crossover at the training ground, and so on. Roma, you've seen it. Olympiacos, you've seen it. First degree of separation. I feel like the net is closing in, where if you'd have asked me a week ago, I didn't know anybody who had been in contact with anybody with the virus. Now I know people that are like 2 degrees away separated, or 3 degrees away separated. The net is closing in, where more and more people will know somebody 1 or 2 degrees away. And football players and within teams, that happening with them is when they'll be like, okay, right, we can't. And within the football stadium, I think the likelihood of it spreading quick is probably quite high. We should all wear masks.
It seems to be, no, on a serious...
We won't be let in.
It seems to be that main spread is coming from physical contact, right?
Yeah. So to keep it a meter's distance and wash your hands and all that.
I mean, I wouldn't go hugging. I'm just thinking about away-ins, actually.
Yeah.
You do end up hugging strangers in away-ins, but I wouldn't at the home end at Spurs.
No.
I can't see that happening, so, yeah.
All we can say is be safe, use your common sense, sing happy birthday, go to the football if you want to, don't if you don't. But mainly, use your common sense and be safe. There's more important things in there.
Yes, life is more important than football.
So we'll be back next week with more FPL.
It's definitely more important than fucking FPL anyway.
Yeah. It is when you ranks 900,000 or something.
I don't care. Genuinely, all I'm thinking about is I'm going to be Spurs, man. And then the other side of my brain's going, James, do you even care? They're so
You're
shit.
Alive, James.
No, what does it matter?
We'll be back next week. Look, the content will go on. If there is a little bit more of a gap in FPL and football-related content because games get postponed and what have you, it will give us the chance to explore our other sides, our comedic sides, our intellectual sides. We'll be talking about other things, James. We'll read a book each and do a book review.
Oh, my God.
We'll watch a movie and do a movie review. No.
We ain't doing none of that.
Nah. But if you have any other ideas for topics, I would be fascinated by what else we could do podcasts on should FPL die.
I've got some bad ideas, man.
Yeah, nothing stupid. Use your common sense. Topics that you wouldn't need to wash your hands after talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I take it differential north-south is just no transfers.
Rolling. That's what it's about. Let's do nothing.
Yeah, sod it.
So there we go. Thank you for tuning in this week, and good luck with your FPL teams. Don't lose your hair over it or get any greys. It's going to be a mess for everybody. Anything else to add?
No, have a good weekend, everyone. Good luck.
Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.